You jibber jab, bamboozle, nuka noozle, bippity bop, she-call. You jibber jab, bamboozle, nuka noozle, bippity bop, she-call. I mean, you keep on talking, but you don't know where to turn it off.
Good evening, welcome to the weekend. I'm Jon Caldara, president of the Independence Institute. You're watching Independent Thinking. Well, look what the cat dragged in today. It's been a while. Governor Bill Owens,
I think
so glad
that's
to have
a compliment.
You. No, not at all, not at all.
You know, how many times have we done this, I wonder?
We have done this, well, it's been a couple years.
Right.
But we did this a lot. And I'm going to say something and that I know you don't want me to get into this issue, but I'm going to do it anyway because it's my show. You know, you and I have had a lot of great battles together and a few hardcore disagreements, and we've come to blows many times. There has never been a single time when asked that you didn't come down here and take on those issues, talk to me, fight me. Even when we were in real fisticuffs, I would go down to your office, nobody else would be around, we go and go at it. And I just want to tell you how much I appreciated that during the years and how much more I appreciate it now. For the last 2 years, I've been trying to get our current governor to come sit down here and talk to us about some of the issues. And he came on as a candidate, he was happy to do that. But whether we were getting along, whether we were fighting on an issue, you always came and you always talked about it. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate that, and even now more than before.
The battle of ideas. I feel that if you're in public office, you have a responsibility to go out and defend what you believe. And you and I really were on the same side on so many issues, disagreed on one big one, but if I can't debate you, and if I can't tell Colorado when I was governor what I believed and why I believe it, then you're in the wrong business.
Well, and you were always good at that. And on a drop of a hat, you'd even come to our center-right meetings. You would do whatever, even when we were having disagreements. And furthermore, if you couldn't do it for a reason, you'd say I wouldn't, and we'd schedule around it. I'm finding it frustrating with our new governor. He won't even say no. I'm getting a lot of the we'll find a time and then the no return. So I really appreciate that.
Good to be back.
Let me ask you, what the hell are you doing?
What the heck am I doing?
We don't see you around anymore. You don't call. You don't write. You're gone half the time. What are you doing? People want to know.
I loved serving in public life. I considered it the honor of a lifetime to be governor, and yet I also really love not being governor. It's really nice to have time with your kids, have time in terms of trying to earn a living, have some privacy, and not have to worry if there's a forest fire or a tornado or a flood. And so I wasn't burned out as governor. I left with good popularity, but it's really nice to be in private life. I'm doing a lot of things in business. Partners with some friends of mine in the tech center. We have a large land and water business. I'm on some corporate boards. I'm working with some private clients, helping them in a number of areas. Spent a lot of time on the road. Just last week I was in New York and Arizona,
let's just put it out. You sold in. You cashed in your checks. You're making money now.
You know, after 24 years in public service, and that's what I regard it as, I am trying to make enough money so that I can keep the kids in college. Our son's about to start MBA school at the University of Denver. We have another son that's about to go to the University of Colorado at Colorado Springs. He'll be a freshman there next year. So actually I need to put 2 kids through college right now.
And your daughter Monica is starting her own political life as well, getting involved in all sorts of issues politically and professionally. So you're a proud dad.
Well, we both are, and I know about your kids, and I know how proud of them you are. And
let me ask you about the private sector life. You said 24 years is a long time.
Right.
You were a state rep. You were a state senator. You were a state treasurer. You were a governor for 8 years. Do you really know how the private sector works any longer? It's been a while.
You know, I do. I started with Deloitte. At the time it was called Touche Ross, worked with the Gates Corporation, worked as executive director of a statewide trade association. I got into politics, into policy because of the private sector. Always been a conservative, read the Wall Street Journal as a youngster, literally in my teens. It made me conservative, and I looked around at the Great Society of the 60s and what was happening with Nixon's price controls of the 70s, and I became engaged. So literally, I went into public life because of my belief in the private sector, and I love it. And it really is. I mean, it's a wholly different animal than public sector.
Let me ask you the obvious question. We've got a couple new senators. One's going to be up in 2 years. One who's I mean, we insiders know Michael Bennett very well,
right.
but the general population has no idea who this school superintendent is. Your name has been whispered a lot as somebody who would be a terrific candidate for the Republicans to take on Michael Bennett. So I just want to announce that you've already said yes, and you're pretty excited about it.
No, I care a lot about my party. I care a lot about the future of the conservative movement. You know, there's a small side of me that says, you know, I could win that race, and the things that I believe in deserve representation, but I'm not going to do it. I've done it for 24 years. I'm enjoying so much what I'm doing now.
Over and done with. You're not. Will there ever be a time you could see yourself get back in?
I can't foresee it. And you know, John McCain called me the other day. I was honored to get a call from him, asking me to consider it. Just not in my plans. I still have a few years left, and you never say never, but I'm not planning to run.
You got a few years
in
left,
2 years.
And you got a lot of financial catching up to do after 24 years.
I've got Monica, our oldest, finished graduate school, so I think I'm through with her education. But I have 2 boys that are still drawing down from the pocketbook.
What do you miss most? I mean, you had 24 years. I'm thinking probably the last 8, which, I mean, if there is one job to have in the state of Colorado, there's only a few jobs to have. Jay Cutler's, Mike Rosen's, mine, and
I would
say
yours. Dick and Charlie Montfort's would be right there as head of the Rockies.
That's because you're a big Rockies fan.
I'd like to be the Major League Baseball commissioner. That's why I need to replace Bud Selig.
I'll see what I can do about that.
I'd appreciate you working on that.
What do you miss?
You know,
I mean, now that you got 2 years of perspective,
not
what do you miss?
too much. That's a good question, and again, I wasn't burned out. It wasn't as if, you know, but I don't know that a 9th state of the state, a 10th state of the state, a 10th budget, I could have had the same verve and vigor that I had on 1 through 8. I saw my 3 predecessors all serve 12 years. Governor Love left in his 10th year to go to Washington. Governor Lamb was a very engaged governor all 12 years, but years 10 and 11 started to do a lot of national books and national issues. Governor Romer became chairman of the Democratic National Committee in his 10th year. I think that there's a time when you start to just simply need to move on.
If there wasn't term limits, would you have gone for a 3rd term?
You know, that's a good question. I would have been under significant pressure to do so. I wouldn't have wanted to, but I don't know if I would have or not. So much of what we did, and it was a team effort in terms of charter schools and school choice, lower taxes. We cut taxes by billions of dollars over the 8 years that I was governor. So much of what I've done, some of it with a different party in power, is going to be changed. But I also am enough of a realist to understand that no one person is responsible for all of these things, and this pendulum will shift back perhaps sooner rather than later.
What about from lifestyle? What do you miss? I mean, obviously having the impact politically has got to be great, but from a personal point of view...
Finding parking spaces is a real challenge, especially right here at Channel 6. 6 to 12. No, there isn't much I miss. You know, you had some of the pageantry, and when the World Series was here, never was when I was governor, but that would have been nice. I got to go to the Super Bowl. But what I really miss is the ability to make a decision, and from my perspective, make the right decision and have it stick.